Women's Sports Mix.
Cambridge Radio.
Hello, this is the Women's Sports Mix. I'm Amy Gray.
And I'm Alex Elbro.
And we are very happy to be back after what we are calling our winter break, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly, because we've done so much exercise over that time.
Done so much. And we have moved to a Tuesday at 6 p.m. So if you are listening live right now, it is a Tuesday rather than a Monday. And going forward, we will be on a Tuesday. But it's probably more or less the same if you listen on demand.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll just be there a day later. And we are a fortnightly programme. We look at sports and activities for women and girls in Cambridge and South Cambs. We have a lot to catch up on, don't we, Alex?
We do, and I'm not going to give any spoilers yet about what's been happening in the football, but we will be hearing from Liz Pamplin, who we spoke to after the game on Sunday. Yes, we went to the U's home game against London Seaward, and it was at St Neots, and despite being minus 50 million or something...
You were warm. You had layers on.
And later in the show, we'll hear from Darren Marjoram, the U's manager, with his thoughts how he thinks the season's been going, and his nomination for Manager of the Month for December.
Very good. And Cambridge Kodiaks, we'll see what they have been up to. It's not just what you think. It's not just Slough Sirens. There's other things as well, but all will be revealed later. And and we will hear from them about what happened with Slough Sirens and their next game. If you are hoping to go to Cambridge Ice Arena to see them, we'll have the details for that as well. You can follow the show on Instagram. We are at women's_sportsmix. So do get in touch with us. You can follow us there, and our show email is amy@cambridge.radio, or you can email Alex at the same address if you are involved in women or girls sports and you would like to speak to us. Now, if you haven't been listening live, if you're listening on demand, you won't know this, but Alex Elbro has just done 2 hours on Cambridge Radio filling in for Steffi.
And had 2 guests, which wasn't really... I didn't really think that through, did I?
It was like packed when I got here, and I thought, and she's got another hour to go on Women's Sports Mix.
All good.
Bravo
all good.
To Alex.
Yes, no, it's all good. We've swapped seats, haven't we? I've kept the seat nice and warm for you.
Oh, it's toasty over here, but you can relax over in the guest area, Alex, as much as you can. I should have brought a snack in for you, shouldn't I?
Yes, please.
Because you brought that Kit Kat in for me. Remember how excited I was about that Kit Kat?
Yeah, I know. See, I'm just going to say that... you've scored a minus point for that one. Not really. I actually have got a cereal bar in my bag if I have a chance to eat it.
I brought you a whole soother, actually, Alex.
That is actually quite loving.
I bought 2 flavours because I didn't know if you'd want the cherry or blackcurrant, so I brought both.
Yeah, I think I'd go cherry. I'm not.
Okay, well there we go.
Yeah, well,
okay, I'm back in your good.
But I'm not going to be necessarily having that during this because it might be a bit loud.
Yes, yeah, I think off air for slurping the whole soother.
Yeah, okay, that's not nice for people, is it?
Let's have a look. Cambridge United women, as we said, we were at the game because they'd had 2 wins in December. We wanted to get in on this action, didn't we?
Yeah, because we haven't had much luck when we've been to see them. They've been really unfortunate in when we've been to see them. So we were getting a bit worried, weren't we, that we had to actually jinx them. It
was us. Yeah. It was totally us. But we had a good game, didn't we?
We did, yes, and it's the first game back after New Year, wasn't it? And as I said, it was minus something daft overnight. All the men's games were called off, I'm just going to say.
Yeah, lots of games were called off. Yeah. And over January, this is our first episode back, there were women's games as well that were called off because of pitches.
Yeah.
It happens.
No, I meant that weekend, though.
Weekend was bad.
The men's game was called off in Blackpool because they couldn't have the pitch.
Yeah.
Because these men can't get it right. But what happened was they moved to the 3G pitch. Who knew? I didn't even know that we were going to... I did think that the game was going to be... Didn't you think the game was going to be called off?
We did. We kind
because
of said...
Because the pitch itself was frozen.
Yeah, we want to go, but we kind of knew we might not be able to go. And then it was good news, wasn't it, from Liz, that we could go down.
And lots of layers.
And it was a 1-0 win. And I spoke to Liz Pamplin after the game. It was a cold one today, Liz. We were on the 3G pitch. A deserved win.
Yes, I think so. I thought we, the first game back after Christmas, we started a little bit slowly in the first half, but we upped the intensity in the second half, and I did think we had enough chances to take the win away today, yes, and we're really pleased with it.
And in the first half, we had a lot of endeavour, a lot of possession as well, and we really limited their chances. Although we hadn't got the goal in the first half, they didn't have much of it, did they?
Yeah, I think so. I think we kept possession of the ball quite nicely, and we, it was, endeavour's a good word. We worked hard, but without as much quality as we would normally like on the pitch. But we did limit them, which was great, which is exactly what we needed to do.
And I think as the first half went on, they warmed up a bit, I think. And towards the end of that half, they did have some chances and a great save from Lauren Webb. Yeah,
Webby's a superb goalkeeper, and that save, that point blank save, kept us in the game at that point, which allows you to build on it in the second half. So Webby's the keeper that we need to keep us in games sometimes when we're not perhaps at our best.
And what was the message to the team at half-time?
Up the intensity, up the quality, go on the front foot and really go after the game. Don't worry too much about, maybe losing the ball a little bit. Just go after the game, work hard and earn your chances.
Well, they definitely did that. We were peppering their goal. Their goalie was under a lot of pressure. Me and Alex saw her communicating with the bench. Next thing you know, bullet from Alicia.
Yeah, their goalkeeper is an excellent player. She's played at higher levels before and is really outstanding. And it was getting a little frustrating, but you don't save those. When the minute it left her boot, we knew that was in the back of the net, and that's Alicia's quality. It wins a football match.
Was that from the edge of the box? How far out was she for that one?
Yeah, just outside, probably 20, 25 yards, I would suggest. And she's hit it so true that, yeah, as I say, WSL keepers aren't saving that.
And so 3 games, 3 wins on the bounce. That feel good?
Yeah, it's nice. We talked a lot about having a few injuries at the start of the season, and when we got all our players fit and available and on the pitch, that we'd start to see results, and we're starting to see results. The 2 before Christmas were really positive, and today's was a result that we scrapped. But you have to win in all ways to win football matches.
And Darren, with his Manager of the Month nomination, is the team pleased to see that recognition?
We're absolutely delighted. Darren's he's the heartbeat of the team. He's the one who leads everything from the front, and everyone's absolutely delighted to see that he's getting the credit for the work that he's doing.
And tell us about the County Cup competition. How does that work? That's coming up next.
Yeah, next week we're in the Cambridgeshire Invitation Cup. This is a cup that we've won lots of times as Cambridge United women, but we are the highest ranked side in Cambridgeshire. So what we do is we play a hybrid team with some first teamers and some under 18s in order to make the competition kind of fair enough for all the other teams who are in it as well, because some of them are playing at lower levels than we do.
Well, thank you very much to Liz Pamplin, who I spoke to after the game there. And Alex, we'll take a look at Cambridge City. They had 2 away games in January. They've lost 1 to Dussindale and Helsden Rovers. That's sort of Norwich way. That was 4-1. And then it was a 6-0 loss on the road to Haringey Borough. But those teams they both doing pretty well in the league that they're in. So they were tougher away games.
So whereabouts are Cambridge City in that league sort of compared to them?
Cambridge City, we're in relegation, so need to start picking up the points, whereas those teams, I think they were 3rd and 5th after those games, and the teams above us, I think, do have some games in hand as well. So this is Eastern Region Football League Premier Division is what Cambridge City are in.
I am also loving that you call all the teams that
I
are
insert
Cambridge
myself
we.
Into these, yeah.
You're we for
I'm
all of them.
I'm terrible, aren't I?
So
I'm a Kodiak,
but you're also like a magpie. You'll be a we for everyone that's there. But I think it's very endearing, and it also shows that we are involved. Exactly, we are very much involved.
Yeah, so we really, we need to start picking up points for Cambridge City. I know I've spoken to Christina.
That was a big sign then.
I spoke to Christina Ashley of the Kodiaks yesterday about something that you were very excited about.
I was.
And also their winning streak. So coming up next, have the Kodiaks maintained their winning streak? I caught up with Captain Christina Ashley. That's next.
Cambridge Radio Women's Sports Mix.
This is the Women's Sports Mix. I'm Amy Gray, and I'm joined by Kodiak's captain, number 66, Christina Ashley. Hello.
Hi, nice to meet you again.
Yeah, good to see you. And we've already had Happy New Year's, haven't we? So yeah, we've done that. Happy New Year to all of the Kodiaks.
Thank you. Well, Happy New Year to everybody at Sports Mix and everyone listening.
Thank you very much, Christina. And before we get on to the Kodiaks results, Alex Elbro has been loving your social media content. If you don't follow Kodiaks, it's at Cambridge Kodiaks, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And then you won't miss anything. Tell us what you were doing.
Yesterday, we got the extreme privilege of going skating on the fens. It was so much fun to skate outside. There was a big group of us. We all met up crazy early in the morning because you have to hit it while it's really cold, of course, so it's frozen, and got to play a bit of what we call pond hockey, or just outside hockey, and pass the puck around. It was incredible. It was packed with people, which was also really lovely to see how many people love skating in the UK.
Yes.
But it was so beautiful and so much fun.
Pond hockey. Okay.
Pond hockey, yeah.
Is it cold by Canada standards? How cold was it?
I mean, not by Canada standards. I mean, I can definitely remember, like, yesterday morning, I'm getting ready to go, and my brain is still set to Canadian mode, so I've got, like, layers upon layers on, and I was fairly warm when I got there. But back home, yeah, you generally go out between, like, -10 and -20. It was about -3 yesterday.
Okay, so it was fine. You're hardy. It was fine. And what did
cold is cold.
It was very cold, and you had your hockey sticks. What did people think when they saw you?
There was lots of people actually out with sticks. There was a game next to us that were, young kids, which was fun. Some of the Cambridge women's team was there too, and the men's team, and we all kind of played together, which was really nice. The speed skating club was out, so there was like a really great mix. But people definitely love seeing the hockey going on, because after a bit of time, people kind of start to come over and watch and see what's going on, something different.
Well, definitely. I mean, they're getting a game, aren't they? They're getting a training session.
Exactly.
And had you done that before here?
Never. It's something I really wanted to do. I saw it last year and unfortunately couldn't get it. It only freezes for such a short period of time because it doesn't get cold enough. But it was definitely a bucket list item of just like, what an amazing experience to get to do, and really not something I think we ever expected, especially moving over here, that would happen.
And I suppose if there'd have been like a normal person like me, I might have been a bit baffled. Who are all these? These people are good. You should be in a league, they might have been thinking when they saw you.
I mean, I know we did get a few more supporters, which is nice. It's always great to hear that people want to come out and watch. So that was a lot of fun. And one of our players is even going to be doing speaking with a journalist about it as well, about skating on the fens. So
yes,
it was. I mean,
we had someone on Cambridge Radio this morning as well. It's just such a novelty, isn't it? And it looks wonderful and it's fun. So why wouldn't people want to go out and give it a try?
Exactly. I mean, the lineup of cars was astounding when you saw it like at 8:30 in the morning. You're going, nobody's going to be here. But no, lots of people were. It was really, really nice to see.
Well, I'm glad that Fens were able to provide that great experience for you, Christina. So let's take a look at the game that we haven't spoken about because we were on the Sports Mix winter break. This very impressive result against Slough Sirens. Tell us about that game.
Yeah, we went into this game, I mean, really ready to go. We did a video session before. We prepped a lot because we knew it was going to be a difficult one, and it was. They definitely put up a good fight. Breaking the deadlock, I think, kind of just set us off on a roll, and we had a really incredible game as a team, played so well together to give us one of the best results all season, actually, and kind of a really nice send-off. 11-1 was our final score, so it was lots of goals, lots of action, but they were spread out nicely as well throughout the game.
The real team effort, as it always is with the Kodiaks.
Yeah, it was nice to see so many people get on the score sheet, and a few people that like have worked really hard all season. It's nice to see them kind of, capitalizing, and our RD really stepped up big time for this game as well.
What's the
Yoa,
RD?
Alicia. Sorry, our defense.
Okay.
They were,
yes, yes. Okay, I'm with you now, Christina. The D, yes.
No worries. They were such a big part of the game. Yoa and Alicia, for example, each had a hat trick, so 3 goals each, and they were really great at kind of stepping up and stopping the rush from Slough as well, because they had quite a few players that could move the puck well and could bring it into the zone. So it was nice to see sort of that defensive line really taking on a huge role in that game.
And yourself as well, Christine, you didn't mention, but you did also get 3 goals, didn't you?
I did get 3 goals, yes.
Yes, well done. And Yoa was player of the game.
Yeah, Yoa was player of the game. Very well deserved. She is such a powerhouse for our defensive line. Like, I would not want to be playing against her ever. I'm very happy she's a Kodiak.
And it was Slough, their goal they didn't get until, was it the 3rd period, until they could actually break through? Yeah,
we managed to hold them off all the way to the 3rd. They got a lucky shot off. And, sometimes that's just the bounce that happens. Unfortunate for our goaltenders, because you always want to see them be able to get a shutout, but they both did so well in controlling the puck. So it was overall, I think it was a really great team effort.
Looking ahead to the next game, we're back at the Cambridge Ice Arena this weekend, isn't it?
We are this weekend, first game of 2025, and a really exciting one at that. We're taking on the Peterborough Phantoms, which would easily
Derby
be
game, Christina.
Yeah. See, that was a new term for me moving over here.
Oh, really? See, we can learn from each other.
Exactly. Just picking it up as we go. They're by far our biggest rival. Quite a few of our players have played with them previously. And last year, we managed to keep them at bay both games, a 1-0 win and a 4-1 win. So hopefully this year, we meet them 4 times this year as well. So we play them quite a bit. And this will be the kickoff for that. And hopefully we can really kind of drive home that we want to be the leaders of the league and kind of make a punchy impact with the start to 2025. Knock on wood. So
speaking of that, you are top of the league of the pool that you're in, aren't you?
We are currently, yes, we are. We're undefeated for the season, and it's a streak that we would really like to stay on.
And we're looking, I think you'd said before, it's top 2, isn't it, for the league?
So top 2 go to playoffs in Sheffield. If you win that, you get promoted, and promotion is always our goal.
And then after that one, it's an away game, isn't it, after that? So if you're looking for a home game in Cambridge at Cambridge Ice Arena, it's January the 18th against the Peterborough Phantoms.
Yep, January the 18th, and then you can catch the next one after that again in February.
Women's Sports Mix. Cambridge Radio.
This is the Women's Sports Mix. I'm Amy Gray.
And I'm Alex Elbro.
And thank you to...
I don't know why I say it like I'm singing.
It's nice. Realised. Well, you're a singer. It's
Singy song.
Thank you to Christina Ashley, Kodiak's captain. And coming up very soon, we're talking to U's manager, Darren Marjoram. You really liked the Kodiak's pictures on the frozen field.
Honestly,
you thought it was a lake?
I did. I feel like I've been sold a lie for many years, because I've been now in Cambridge for many, many years, and I always thought the fen skating was on like little canals and rivers, because obviously the fens is quite wet and has been, was always wet.
You were outraged, weren't you? When I said a field, you're like, no,
it's they're like, and then I kept seeing all these friends of mine skating at different places all over the weekend, not just the Kodiaks, which was, they were cool because they were playing a game, whereas the other people just skating up and down. I don't know where all these people get their ice skates from. They clearly got them hidden in a cupboard somewhere.
People are into it.
Yeah. And I thought, and of course, I showed my very risk-averse husband this, and he was like, "Oh my goodness, that's so dangerous. What if the ice cracks?" But
I'm guessing on a
cracks,
field,
you fall into a
shallow.
You just fall on a bit of grass. It would be fine, wouldn't it? So
well, there we go.
So maybe the others were maybe some of those pictures I saw, they were skating on ponds and things. I don't know. I felt like be very careful.
Pond hockey.
Yeah. I don't think they were playing hockey. I think they were just skating. And I feel that some of that could be very dangerous if you don't know how deep it is. We were in, I want to say Sweden, but it could have been Norway. I'm a bit confused now. I can't remember. But we were somewhere that had it was so cold, it was frozen, and people were walking across this frozen lake, and literally we inched across it because we were like, oh yeah, we can do this, because people like it was a thing. But
I would be frightened.
Yeah, we were like, quick, get to the other side, quick. But we haven't really talked much about yet what we've been doing over in the last sort of month, really. But apart from the eating and drinking part of it, I joined the gym.
You did. Yes,
I have been that busy cliche of joining the gym last week, first week of January, and I've done a bit of Zumba. I'm going to cough. Hang on.
I didn't give you the whole sue there.
No, but also I just ate a cereal bar at like 100 miles an hour, and now I think that wasn't a good idea. Anyway, so I did Zumba last week. I messaged you and I was like, this is great. I'm having a great time dancing away. That was good. Then I went for my welcome to the gym thing, which I have talked about on the show previously before this one. So if anyone's listening from home, I'm sorry, I'm going to tell you again. And I thought it was going to be just like a little tour around the gym, Oh yeah, how does that work? Okay, sit on it and I'll show you how it works. No, I did 3 sets of 10 on every single machine that
What? They made you go on it?
Did a full 1 hour workout. And wow. I thought, well, at least that's good. I've had a workout. But this morning, it was very hard getting downstairs. I think I needed a tray that I could, talking about ice skating, I could slide down the stairs on. At that point, I really wish we lived in a bungalow. Oh my goodness. Even sitting now, I can feel it. And then I went to Zumba this morning. I wasn't quite as enthusiastic because one of my legs is absolutely killing me. I don't know whether I've actually done something bad to it, but we'll see.
Well, on the fact you're doing all this, I mean, I'm listening to you doing all this stuff. I just couldn't. So well done to you, Alex.
And the other thing we wanted to mention, which is you've doing a little bit of running and everything. You have a new puppy, so that's curtailing you getting out the house.
I'm at home with a puppy that is having like a training regime, so it's been but
so you're getting up and down, but you're not much running about yet.
Yeah,
but you will be.
She's quite heavy though, so
that's like carrying a big weight.
She's quite big, so I'm carrying like 8 kilos or something every time I'm carrying her around.
That's a lot. That's more some
or I'm
some of the
showing
weight.
Her something, some enrichment that I'm doing for her. Here's some new smells for you, Debbie.
Yeah. Did you see the Gladiators over the week? Over the Christmas break?
Special was that. I think it might have been on at New Year. I saw it on iPlayer.
So it was Rob Beckett, the comedian, and Joel Dommett, who's also a comedian.
Joel Dommett, my partner is going to hate me for saying. I don't know why I'm telling you. I've started talking, so I'm going to go on. Mm-hmm. He gets told he looks like Joel Dommett.
And I think he's nice.
Yeah, like take the win, and he's like, like he always seems a bit sort of like, but I'm thinking
maybe he thinks he's better.
I'm so much better looking than Joel Dommett. But I think it's fairly
it's definitely a compliment. Yeah. I've also, I mean, it's not really fitness related, but I have started watching The Masked Singer in Gusto. I used to watch it in passing. Now I have got it. I record it and I'm watching it and trying to guess all the people.
Alex.
It's sort of like, it's more the guesswork. I like trying to work out. I mean, the clues are so random that but him hosting that, he won Gladiators.
He did, yes.
But it was very impressive
Ellie
to see them
Taylor
all go.
won it. And Ellie had, I think she'd said she'd had her baby 8 months before she took part. And Louise Minchin said that she'd not really done much sport until I think maybe like her 40s. She sort of
and
got
now
back
she
into
does
it
loads
again.
of like marathons and things.
Yeah.
But of course, Gladiators is so much more than just that. It's loads of body strength, isn't it? Anyway, I've realised that we're going to run out of time soon, so we will stop yakking. But Gladiators back at the weekend, and Stop This Flames from Celeste. That was a film. That was the song. A Gladiators song, wasn't it?
It's for Fire. Who was she? I don't watch Strictly, but was she on Strictly?
Yes, she was. Yes. She was very good on that.
Hers is actually, her little stance she does is quite boring because it's just a fireball, which is obviously CGI'd on. Some of them are quite elaborate, but you just ruined
it. I hadn't thought about the CGI part of that.
It's a real fire, Alex.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
So she's amazing, but also she was on the Christmas special as well. And Louise Minchin, I'm just going to say, she did it in her 50s, so that
she did really well, didn't she?
Yeah. But new series of proper contestants at the weekend, so we'll be. And also, just wanted to mention the new Cambridge United app you can get, where all the women's games are on there. If we run out of time at the end to say. But Darren Marjoram, the manager of the Cambridge United women's team, has been nominated for Manager of the Month in their league for December. And as Liz mentioned earlier, he is the beating heart of the team, and we caught up with him earlier.
This is the Women's Sports Mix with Alex and Amy, and we're joined by Cambridge United women's manager Darren Marjoram. Hello, Darren.
Hi, Amy. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. And, well, it's 3 wins in a row for the U's. You must be very pleased with these results.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because we've gone through a tough patch, as everybody knows. We had a beginning. It's sort of been an up and down because we had a tough start to the season. Then we picked up some really good results and got on a good run, and then started really as much as anything to get some injuries and some problems with players being unavailable, injury and illness, and that coincided with results being tough. And then, as you say, we've picked up 3 wins on the bounce now. But I think what that tough spell does is it keeps you humble. It makes you realise that at any time it can change. So you've just got to keep working hard. So yeah, really, really delighted for the group. Really, to be honest, for the players as much as anybody, because they're a really good group of people, and they deserve to see their efforts rewarded.
And the London Seawood game, we spoke to Liz earlier about that. And the 2 games before that sort of precede your Manager of the Month nomination, which were 2 really tough games, Norwich and Actonians. And when me and Alex saw the away game against Norwich near the beginning of the season, we'd said it had been so evenly matched in the first 20 minutes. If we'd have got something, we'd have really made them think about things. And that's kind of exactly what happened this time, 19th minute penalty, and then go on to get the 2-0.
Yeah, do you know, I think that's a perfect summary, because we felt the same away. It was quite tightly matched, and it was going to come down to who got that breakthrough. And a bit like with the game against Seawood, it's just who can find that moment of quality, or it might even end up just being a bit of luck. But you've got to play with a little bit of quality, and we we just didn't quite have that knack on the away game. But like you say, when we played them at home, I thought we started really well. And then once we got the breakthrough, I actually felt that, what it does is it stresses other teams out a little bit, especially if they're a good side like Norwich. They're not always used to being behind in games, and it can be quite stressful for a team trying to work out the solutions. And the longer the game goes like that, the harder it gets. We then got a second goal, and and then that proves an uphill battle for any team.
Yeah, and I think that works the other way, doesn't it, as well? As soon as the girls started getting some wins, you get the belief, don't you? And then you become really mighty.
Yeah, literally, exactly that. So that's the thing. We looked at those two games, Actonians and Norwich. I remember saying to Ben and to Liz, not only are they really tough games on paper, and that's the sort of that's the tough side of it, if you like, but the positives are, I said, go into those, win those two games. One, it gets us back in contact with the teams above us, which is exactly what happened. And two, the confidence you'll get from that will be huge. So the win against Actonians was the start of that. But do you know what? Like, we played away against Bournemouth the previous week in the Plate. We got beat 2-1, but they have, they're a team that they'd only lost one game all season, and that was the very early stages in the determining round of the Cup. They'd won every other game they'd played at that point: League, FA Cup, and League Plate. So they were a brilliant side, and we ran them really close. So I felt that we were getting there, and so the momentum had changed a bit. And I really saw that next week in training before the Actonians game, after the Bournemouth game. I saw a bit of a turn in the players, just their whole confidence started to return. So what you just said, Alex, is so true. It can be a knock on confidence if you go behind or if things are tough, but equally, once it starts to turn the other way, things become just a bit more natural, I guess. You start to find that rhythm.
And Actonians had been doing really well. We beat them 5-1 at their place. How did you feel when the nomination came through for Manager of the Month?
Do you know, I think this is such an important thing for me, and I've said it to other people as well. Like, I don't see that as a Manager of the Month nomination. Genuinely, it's Team of the Month, because let's break it down and be honest about it. Realistically, is it the manager who's created that, who's made that happen? It's absolutely not. It's a team effort, and that's really true, isn't it? Every person has to play a part for it to succeed. All the starting 11, subs, people who weren't involved in the game but were involved in training, so they were helping to prepare players. All the staff worked so hard. I mean, you both met Liz and spoken to Liz. You know how hard she works. There's Ben, there's Sam, Claudia. There's a whole group of people, and that's without going into all the people at the club. So, yeah, I think the important thing for me, and it really matters to me, is that I don't see any status in a Manager of the Month nomination, because for me that's Team of the Month, and the team deserve that recognition, I think.
Well, Liz was mentioning it earlier, and I think all the team are really proud of the nomination, so that's definitely come through to them. And you'd also mentioned about people, everyone to be involved, because you said about the injuries. So all the physios and everyone, and the rehab of players, and planning the training round so that they can be included, so that they're match ready and match fit when you need them. That's all in it, isn't it? It's not just a thing of just go out and play.
Absolutely spot on. Like, I think, and sometimes people see the game day and see what goes into it there, and see the huge amounts of efforts that go in, both from players and from staff. But what you just said there is, like, if I take that Actonians game, for example, we had players that we'd been trying to get back from injury all season. So Ellie Finneran, for example, we signed Ellie in the summer. Ellie had 1 week of training and then got an injury and was out until the Actonians game. So the physio had spent that whole week, really focusing on getting Ellie prepared to be able to play 30 minutes. So that was the plan all along. And, it was great to get Ellie back on the pitch, and it was great to get others as well back involved, because there was others that had been in the same boat. Ella Marden that week was really unwell, but she came and was on the bench to help out. And that again had been like a joint effort trying to plan it. And if we're looking at, say, for example, the likes of Ellie, the reason that Ellie was on reduced number of minutes was just that return from injury and trying not to overdo it. So training that week was planned around how much time would be contact, how much time would be non-contact, how much time would be spent training before we withdrew Ellie from training so that we didn't risk injury. And all of that planning went in between the physio and Ben, the coach, to make sure that those sessions worked and fitted in with the physical needs for the player, but also trying to get the best for the group. So that's all work. We tend to do that work Sunday, Monday, so that by the time we get to Tuesday's training session, we've got that planned out and we know what that looks like. So it's a really good thing to highlight, because that's the work that goes on behind the scenes, that, you know, someone might see a player come on and think, oh, they played really well for 30 minutes, but there's a huge amount of work that's gone in from both the player and the staff to get to that point.
And on for the women's team specifically, they're not all fully professional, as are you. Everyone's running another job at the same time, and you've got to fit all that around everybody's jobs, everybody's work commitments, family commitments. I mean, it's a lot more than the men's game, I'm going to say.
Yeah, no, that's the truth. That's the reality for sure. Everybody in the team, staff and players, have jobs or are studying at uni. You know, some have families. In terms, you know, like Sarah, for example, has 3 children. You know, there's a great example. You know, somebody who's got to balance football, being a mum, being a wife. She's got 3 kids. One's below 1. It's like, you know, it's a huge amount to try and juggle. On top of, like, you know, the physical needs. So we do 2 sessions a week, but people will do other stuff as well, gym work and running and stuff. So yeah, the commitment's massive. And even if we go back to that point about, you know, physios and coaching staff planning sessions with players who are rehabbing or getting back to full fitness, you know, they've got to try and speak to each other. We all have to speak as a staff team about those players and getting them back on the pitch. Planning that stuff all together, making sure the goalkeeper coach has the area and the space and the equipment that he needs for his stuff, making sure that fits in with the plan, so we all build it into one plan that comes together as a game at the end or towards a phase of play that we're doing. So yeah, it's a lot of work. Analysis. It's an endless list of tasks, really. But
and on the reality
it's
check,
worth it.
you were telling us for the game on Sunday, you were out there sweeping the ice off the 3G pitch, so you're able to play it, you and Liz. So, you know, hats off to you for doing that as well, to make it so that it was a good game for everyone, which it really was. And you can see the commitment in the team when they're there, both teams, to be fair. Yeah,
I didn't have the heart to see the game called off, because that was 4 weeks that we hadn't played. So I mean, the players all on Thursday night were so excited about getting back and playing. I thought,
we got the 3 points, so
exactly.
it worked out well.
It did.
We'd love to know, Darren, a bit more about your career in football and how you got into management.
Yeah, so I played football when I was younger. A couple of times with managers leaving, I'd been asked to step in and help out with coaching or managing the team short term, but that was just kind of like little touches on it, really. I first got involved in it properly when my eldest daughter wanted to play football, so she was like 8 at the time, and we spoke to a couple of clubs, and at that time the girls' game wasn't as developed as it is now, so we tried a couple of clubs in Cambridge and spoke to them, and they were full, so there was no space. So we spoke to the local club in the town where we live, and they said, we don't have a girls' team at that age group. We've only got one girls' team. I think they were under 14s at the time. So they said, but look, you know, come along. It's okay. She can mix in with some of the boys in some of the the fun sessions, and we'll take it from there. So that's what we did. And as I think happens with a lot of people, actually, at grassroots level, it was like, oh look, there's a parent who's coming along every week bringing their child to football. Well, maybe they'll get involved. So the guy who ran those sessions, Chris, lovely guy, just said to me one day, look, you know, would you be prepared to go on your first set of coaching badges and look to take the team on, get a team going and try and bring some players in to make a team. So that's where it all started. So that was when she was 8 and she's now 23. So quite a few years ago. And then I coached through girls football with my daughter's team. When she went up to secondary school, I went and watched one of the games that she was playing at secondary school, and the teacher, Lisa Triggs, said to me, before the game, she said, is anybody happy to be the linesman? I was like, yeah, I'll do whatever. So I stepped up and did that, and then at half time she said, oh, the girls are telling me that you're their manager for quite a few of them, so would you mind helping out? So I helped out, and we won that game, and she said, look, if you're available, this would be great. And that was when my daughter was in her first year at secondary school. We went on that year and won the national championship. So it's basically like that all the schools in England can enter the schools national cup, and it's a knockout competition. And look, you're basically fighting to become champions of England effectively within a knockout format. So that happened in year one when my daughter was at school and at secondary school. And then we expanded that out. We got on really well, and we expanded that out. So I started helping her coaching the whole girls program with the school again after work. So it was all outside of work commitments. Yeah, I think in the end, in the time my daughter was at school, we won I think it was 6 national cups across different age groups. And once we were British Isles champions playing against the champions of Scotland, Ireland and Wales. So I had a great time, really enjoyed that, had loads of success, was really lucky to coach some fantastic players who've gone on to play at good levels of the game. And then helped set up a women's team at St Ives Town because I was coaching within their boys programme at the time in the under-18s. And that was my first step into women's football. So we set a team up from scratch, started in the bottom league. And over, I think I was there 6 years, we got promoted right the way through to Tier 5, which is one below where Cambridge United women are now. And then a couple of times, Ben, who's the coach, was the manager at the time of Cambridge United, and a couple of times he spoke to me and said, would you be interested in coming and joining me? We got on quite well. And I said, look, I think the project I've got here is great, and I enjoy working with the people I do. But after COVID, I spoke to my family, and Ben had asked me again, and he said, look, I don't actually really enjoy the management, I enjoy the coaching, so I'm looking for somebody to come in and manage, which suited me because I enjoy that probably the most. So that's how I came to Cambridge United Women. And then here we are after, this is my 4th season at Cambridge United.
And do you find, when we think of attitudes to football, or people will then differentiate women's football, do you find you ever get, it might be that you don't, do you ever get a certain response when you say, yep, I'm a manager, it's a women's team? Do people ever have a certain response to that? Like, oh, it's women's? Or are people like, okay, yeah, well, women play football, why wouldn't it be?
Do you know what? It's usually pretty good. I mean, I think, the women's game has come a long way in the last few years. It's obviously on TV a lot more. People are more exposed to seeing it. People realise the quality and the levels. You look at the top level women's players that are playing internationally for their countries. They're quite well known now, a lot of them. So I think people are just a bit more exposed to the fact that women's football is a really good sport. The levels are fantastic, and I don't tend to get that so much anymore. I think the perception not overly long ago was that most people would want to go into the men's game if they were a male coach, I guess. But obviously my pathway was through my daughter, and that's the path I took. But I don't find that so much. But I mean, that's just my experience. I'm not saying that would necessarily be the experience of others. I think the stuff that we still have to break down is just maybe outside people that know me or know my involvement in football. It's probably more. I look at the number of people that we get down to watch the women's games, for example. I just love far more people to come down and see it. So I think for me, there's a barrier there. People just don't really take the time to come and have a look at a game. I think they'd be quite surprised by what they see and the commitment levels they see from the players. I mean, there are, unfortunately, there are still times when, Liz, I know, for example, has had an occasion where, she's been on the end of comments, but and we've had it more a couple of times. We've had some nasty things that have been said at games, with spectators and stuff, but not our supporters. So I've seen bits, but I'm hoping that we're starting an upward curve a little bit more now. People are becoming a bit more aware of the level of it and just how popular it is.
I think this is the thing, it is the level of the football. Come and see it. Come and see what a good game it is, and also the atmosphere. And we've had someone on our show, Nicole Hawksworth, who had been a player, and then she'd also had daughters and had seen, actually, there's what's here for them? What can I do? And there's so much time, like with you, that's gone in at this grassroots level to make sure that the girls growing up now, and for future generations as well, there's not that problem. There's a lot going on, isn't there?
Yeah, I think the younger girls now don't see it as a barrier. They go to school, they play football, they see these great role models, and I think it does come down to having, you've got to see it to be able to be it, haven't you? So,
that's it.
Like say, if we could get more of them to some of the matches, I've talked to you about this before, promoting the girls' game and all the games, so that they're up front and central, so that people say, oh, there's a game on Sunday and there's a game on Saturday or whatever, and getting them down to the matches, they'll realise what great game it is and what great atmosphere it is as well. And
definitely.
I don't know what any ways you think that could be help to speed it up, or anything else that would help.
Yeah, I mean, I think I wonder whether there could be some things like we're very lucky in Cambridgeshire in particular that the girls' leagues and the girls' programmes are really strong. Cambridge United have got their their program with the ETC and then the development centres for girls, and they're really popular. And then there's the popularity of the grassroots girls leagues now is huge. There's so many teams across all the age groups. So it's going from strength to strength. So I think, we're growing at that level. I think, as you just said a moment ago, Alex, it's like, how do we show people, especially those girls coming through, let them see what they can be? And we have those great games at the Abbey Stadium, 2 or 3 times a year where they can come along, and hopefully it inspires a few of them to say, well, I want this. I want to play at the Abbey Stadium in a few years. I wonder whether there's like an opportunity where we can kind of almost have like, there's International Women's Day, for example, whether we can kind of promote around something like that and say, look, let's get every girl, if we could, obviously that's not going to happen completely, but get every possible girl that plays football on a Saturday down to the game on the Sunday and let them all mix and have fun. And because that's what it's about, isn't it? Football in some ways at the top end has lost that ability to be a fun social game. And I think if we could show people that they can see these players and link to them, it'd be good.
And there's so much value there for girls.
And also, the skills of resilience and teamwork and all those things which come into all sorts of life, even if you don't carry on and become a professional.
Responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly that, yeah. And I saw that through my daughter. I've got 2 daughters. One dabbled in football a few times in between swimming club and dance and stuff like that. But interestingly, she's now getting into it more. She comes and watches games and stuff like that. But my eldest daughter in particular, she's still playing football. But as a person, I've seen exactly what you just said a moment ago, that resilience, the ability to kind of, work hard for a goal, all of those really good life skills. I've seen so much of that come from football, and in particular, the social elements. I mean, a huge amount of her friends have come through football. So, yeah, I think if we could... if we could almost, rather than we run like mascot days and stuff for teams to come down and be mascots, which is brilliant, and we love those. But I think if we could almost get like a huge mass of girls that play football down to a game all at the same time, different age groups, stuff like that, I just think there'd be so much value in them being able to be there at the same time.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea, doesn't it? I think we need to talk about that between us, really.
There's something there.
Yeah.
And Her Game Too is also something you're involved with, which is I guess you call it a not-for-profit Her Game Too, is it? And it's against sexism in sport.
Yeah, and we are rep for the club. Emma Smith is brilliant. She works so hard, does a lot of things. She still plays football too, and she's just an inspiring person to be around, really. And if you get to speak to her, she speaks so well about all the barriers that are there, and hopefully are starting to diminish a bit, but they are still there, and we have to admit that. There's no point in hiding from it. Hopefully we're seeing less, but we just want to keep working hard, don't we, everybody? Like I say, I've got 2 daughters. I don't want to see them having barriers in life that shouldn't exist. So when I was asked by Emma to become a manager advocate for Her Game Too, I was honoured, to be honest, because as I say, I've got 2 daughters. I just feel like anything I can do that has an impact on that particular strand and programme, then I'm delighted to help. So yeah, I think we've got 2 players as well that are involved, Lauren Webber and Alicia Stocko Down. So we've got like a little group of us, and we've been speaking recently about kind of what next steps are, what we can do, how we can maybe use profiles and things like that to our profiles to try and help. But yeah, Emma's great. She invited me down to a tournament that she'd arranged, a women's veterans tournament in the summer. And I had the best time seeing so many people out there enjoying playing football, having a laugh. After they had a few drinks together as well, and trophies at the end. It was just a brilliant day. And I think the more of this that we can do, the more we can allow everybody to play the sport they want to play or be what they want to be in life. And coming back to what you said earlier, Alex, if they can see that people are out there and putting themselves out there and making it happen, then more people will do it. So great programme to be involved with, and like I say, it's a real honour to be asked to be that part.
Yeah, I think we'll hear more about that in another episode, don't we? We'll try and get hold of Emma and get her to come and tell us some of the stuff they're doing. And if any young girls or women are listening to this and they want to get involved in either playing or some training or even volunteering, that could be in the ground or even like getting into coaching or refereeing or anything, what would you suggest for them?
Look, there's so many ways that you can be involved as well. So I think, when I was with St Ives Rangers, the local town team that I was with when Sophie was playing, when we first set up her team. I remember getting 2 or 3 of the mums involved, and they were a little bit scared off by being a manager because they thought, I don't know enough about football. But the biggest thing for me is the enthusiasm that they could bring to the game and to the team that they were involved in. And because they're mums of daughters that were playing, I just saw the faces of the girls, when they saw mums getting involved, doing some coaching. I think the biggest element is just having that enthusiasm to want to make a difference. So I managed to get a couple of them into coaching and into management, which I'm really pleased with. Even to this day, I think back and think that's something I'm really proud of, that they got involved, and I saw their skill set grow because of it. But you can be involved in many ways, and I always think the start point is your local grassroots club. They're always in need of people to help, and there's so many ways. I think a lot of people shy away because they think, I'm going to end up having to get involved every week, lots of time committed, and it's really up to you as an individual how much time you commit. It could just be as simple as just looking after some equipment and bringing it to a game, something like that. Every little bit will help out. So I think the first thing I'd say is, if anybody wants to get involved, go to your local grassroots club. Ask if they've got girls or women's teams. If you can, I'd love that, because I would like more people to be involved and help that strand of the game. Go and help set some teams up, help promote things, do whatever you can. And then if it's like from a playing side or even a coaching and management side, the other way to do it is through CAMS FA. They run like flexi leagues and things like that, where you don't have to be part of a team. You can even just say, look, I just want to play some football. They'll point you either in the direction of a group that are already set up and running, or on some of these flexi league nights, they'll actually put teams together on the night. So they'll just get 5 or 6 players that have all turned up and say, right, you're a team, there you go, give yourself a team name. And it's just a great way for people to get involved. And I've always found on those nights on flexi leagues and things like that, everybody's there for a common reason. They just want to go out, have some fun, have a run about, play some sport that they love. So that common ground's always great. So there's 2 ways that I'd suggest for people to get involved, I think.
And going back to the U's, Darren, we're in January now. How do you feel about, I think, a pretty solid position in the league? Do you have any more targets going into the final bit of the season?
Look, we think we're disappointed with where we are in the league at the moment, if I'm honest, as a group. We know the reasons why, or some of the reasons why, and injuries and having people on the pitch that we want on the pitch at the same time is part of it. But that's football. Every team suffers with that. We are disappointed a little bit with our league position at the moment, so we're in 7th, but the whole pack in there is really tight. So I think when I looked yesterday and spoke to Liz, we're literally like 2 or 3 points off being in a top 4 place. So we're not far off where we think we want to be, and we think being top 4 is realistic. So we just know that we've got, as I said earlier at the beginning, we've got to stay humble. We've got to keep working hard, because that's the only way we're going to get there and achieve that. But I think we're in a good solid position, but we want more, and we want to progress. So as a group, as a whole, the players are so ambitious. They want to get up there and get involved at the top end. So if we can continue this run going, obviously that will help.
Well, thank you very much, Darren. It was great to hear more, wasn't it, about
Absolutely.
Darren's
it's
career.
It's always so interesting to hear how people get to where they are, and it's such a positive place to be at the moment. I think we all want it too much now. It's too soon, because now we can see how good it is. We want everyone to do that and spread the word, but it will get there, I'm sure.
And let's try and keep this run going, Darren.
Yeah, that's it. That's the most important thing at the moment.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Bye.
This is Cambridge Radio, Women's Sports Mix.
You're listening to the Women's Sports Mix with Alex and Amy.
And this was our first show back in 2025. So thank you to all of our guests who were part of the show today: Liz Pamplin, Christina Ashley, and Darren Marjoram. We enjoyed that interview, Darren, didn't we?
We did. He's a great motivator for a great person to be a manager, isn't he?
And really cares about the game and the women's game, and really understood the challenges, didn't he?
Yes, yeah. And we talked to him off air, didn't we, about what he sees for game going forward, and he did say, what did he say?
Yes,
that he'd like to see in the future the next manager of Cambridge United Women to be a woman.
Yes.
Giving himself out of the job, which I thought was quite interesting.
And if you would like to stay in touch with us and the show, do follow us on Instagram. What are we, Alex?
We're at women's_sports mix, and there you can also kind of find the code for our Fantasy WSL League, please join, because it'd be nice not me just be at the bottom with Amy being right at the top.
I don't even know if you are anymore. I haven't looked at it since the game week back. I just dread, honestly.
There's lots of injuries, and a bit like Darren was saying, they're happening for all the sport and all leagues and everything. So yes, I look in dread to see my players that are now not well enough to be playing.
Yeah, come and take us on. And our next show will be, we're fortnightly, so 2 weeks time. That will be live on Tuesday, the 28th of January. But you can listen to us on demand. I mean, on Cambridge.radio, but also we are on all the podcast platforms, aren't we, Alex?
We are. We're everywhere you can get your streaming podcasts from. And we've had a lovely first show back, haven't we?
We have. We've had a good time. We've had our winter break. We're refreshed, and 3 wins for the U's.
Hooray!
Amazing. And we'll see you soon.